What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Nate. I own a custom integration company, meaning I help people implement technology into their homes and businesses. I haven't made a video in a while, but we did just complete a massive Prewire for a fully integrated smart home. We wanted to take you through that process of how we made the decisions on where things were going to go and walk you through the whole Prewire process. If you're building a house, you have the ability to take advantage of getting wire into places prior to drywall going up. In this house, we did almost 75 drops of cable between Cat 6, speaker wire, low voltage for lighting. We handled the entire Lutron lighting system, DMF lights in all of the ceiling spaces in common areas, and it will end up being a full RA3 system in the entire house to control all that lighting. We'll end up using Josh AI for the control system in this house. So we're going to jump into the actual Prewire, and I'll give you a voiceover and talk about the decisions on how we made things, what we utilized, and what goes into the thought process in designing a system of this scale. If you are ever looking for help in designing your own smart home, feel free to check out the link below. We offer full design services for Ubiquiti, distributed audio, or any of your AV needs. If you need Ubiquiti equipment, make sure to check out our affiliate link in the description below. It helps our channel out a ton when you use that. And let's hop into it. All right, so we're going to run through all the products that we used in this Prewire, some of the tips and tricks that we use if you are doing this yourself, or maybe you're just interested in them. So this first clip here, you're going to see me drilling a pilot hole. So when we go and we do layout of all of our boxes and speaker brackets and things like that, especially in multi-floor over here in Connecticut, everything typically has a basement. I'm setting a pilot bit down first just so I can make sure I know where I'm at before I start drilling a larger hole. Originally in the spec, all the low voltage cables, including all of the line voltage, were all going to be ground mounted outlets that would go in the baseboard trim. After dealing with the carpenters, and later you'll see in the video, we swapped all of those out and ended up just doing loops so that we could stub in old work boxes after the fact. But that's what that blue box was, is it's a retractable box so that we can control the depth. Here you can see Pat going in with a bunch of our boxes of cable. Labeling is a very important piece to doing a successful Prewire. We keep a running spreadsheet that we use. We utilize Google Drive, but we keep a running spreadsheet of every cable labeled so that we know where it's going and we can stay organized, because in all reality, we're not going to come back to trim this house for probably 6 months or so. So remembering where everything is, it's good to have something to reference back. Here you can see we're just pulling wire for speakers. So everything in this house, audio-wise, is going to be Origin Acoustics. For our speakers, we're using the D65 series speaker. All of the amplification will likely be either audio control, the Director series, or it could potentially end up being Sonance. The client has not made a decision on that yet. One big thing when you're doing a house like this, especially in the scenario where we were controlling the lighting as well, because we use lasers for everything. So we want everything to be very straight. The entire house is, the whole first floor, all of the ceilings are going to be millwork. So we have limited space to make sure that we are correct. And when the carpenters are going in and cutting our speaker holes or our light holes, they need to make sure they're spot on. There's no room for changing things like there is with drywall. So we read off the plans, we make sure that we're very accurate, and then we use lasers to shoot all of our locations so that we know that everything's going to line up when those coffered ceilings go in or the millwork goes up on the ceiling. Fortunately, this house is all I-joists, so all of the webbing is incredibly easy for us to drill and create paths for our trunk. This house ended up getting close to, I want to say it's 75 drops. So we have a massive trunk in the basement of this house. So we ended up going through, taking a hole saw and creating predetermined paths for everything. We probably spend a full day, our first day on site, just mapping out where our cables and where our boxes are going to go. because in a scale like this, I'd rather spend the time planning and making sure I know where everything is going to be, as opposed to doing it, realizing I need to change something, and then having to go backwards and rerunning a cable for whatever reason. We always come in post HVAC. So as you can see, all the HVAC and the plumbers have already been into this house. So we know outside of the electrical, nothing else is going to be added in the way of where we're putting our cables. And we do that on purpose. We come in after the fact just so that we aren't going to be, we're not running our trunk down the same joist that an HVAC guy needs to come in, and we run the risk of our things needing to be moved. So it makes it a much easier process for us. Now, one of the big things in this house was we utilized DMF lights, which I will pull up on the screen here in a few so that you can see them, but they're all 2-inch recessed cans that will be trimless. So instead of having a flange around your light, they will be flush mounted inside the ceiling with a very small 2-inch recessed can. The look of that was very important to the client. Now, we try and always make sure that we're working with the trades. As you can see here, our carpenters decided to move one of our boxes and left us a little surprise inside there. But we always try and be as flexible and courteous with the other trades that are on site. Fortunately for this, the electrical team are good friends of ours. The framers are the HVAC guys. So this was a fun site to be on. But you can see here, it's hard to tell in the video, but everywhere that we're drilling, we have lasers set up. So right here, I'm drilling out joists so that we can run our speaker cable through to hit both of these speakers in this master bath. For all of our speakers in this house, we ended up running 14.2 or 14.4. So that's 14 gauge wire, 2 conductor or 4 conductor. We utilize that because of the length of the runs. This house had a split foundation, so it was an existing house previously that they knocked down, and then they expanded upon it. So half of the house is on the original foundation, the other half is all on fresh pour. But it is not like the traditional house now that we typically are pre-wiring, where everything is open concept and there's pretty straight shots for everything. Here there was LVLs everywhere. All the rooms are very chopped up. It was intentionally not an open concept, which is great. I love the look of that. However, that does mean that our cable runs are going to be significantly further. With speakers, if you need to get a further run, typically you want to have a thicker gauge wire to carry that power. Now here are those DMF lights. So the box that you saw there is the junction box that we install for these. They are a very cool light fixture. So we get a whole fire rated junction box that goes up inside the ceiling. Our electricians wire in the line voltage to it, and then there's a pigtail that will go into the module. And as you can see there, those are all the different trim options for them. These, like I mentioned, are a mixture of drywall finish, so they get a mud ring and they will be smoothed out, and then the other ones will go inside of the millwork. The junction boxes work just like most electrical lighting junction boxes. You have 2 arms that come out, and then they just mount directly into the ceiling in between your joists or your eye joists in this scenario. The only drawback to the DMF cans like this is you can't tuck them incredibly close to an eye joist like you could with a standard light fixture. Because it's only a 2-inch light, you have a pretty big gap from, even when it's all the way extended to one side, it's almost 4 inches over off of that. So keeping that in mind when, like this, for example, this house has a lot of windows, certain areas called for us to line it up directly center of the window, which required making some framing changes to make that happen. So in the kitchen there, you see we have 2 DMF lights that will be illuminating that area, and then you have the small aperture origin speakers that are also going in there. It was very important to the client to keep the ceiling as not busy as possible. So that is what we made sure that we did. Here I'm just showing you a look at the trunk that we pulled through this house, this was pretty early on, so it wasn't an incredible amount, but by the end of this, it was a absolutely insane amount of cable coming back to where our rack location is going to be. Now we went back and forth with this particular room. This is going to be a bar area. And that speaker, and then you put the junction box next to it, it feels like it's going to be very busy, but we kept having to remind ourselves that the light is a 2-inch can. So just because that junction box looks very large, that light fixture that goes in it is only going to be 2 inches wide. For reference, those speaker brackets are all 6-inch brackets. So we went with a 6-inch speaker almost everywhere except for those 2 red ones that you saw in the kitchen there. Those are going to be for the small aperture. Now in this scenario, this took a lot of math. This took a lot of planning. This is all for the in-cabinet lighting. So there is, on top of the millwork throughout the house, there are tons of built-ins with glass cabinets. The client requested that we face frame light all of these cabinets. So what we had to do is go and work with the cabinet guy to get very detailed plans and make sure that we're landing our power wire as well as our extension wire for the LEDs into the correct cabinet areas, because the whole basement below this area is going to be finished. Typically, we would run the driver or the transformer right down in the joist below whatever room we were doing. However, that's not an option here. So we had to make sure that we were doing all the math and figuring out where we could make that run. For all of the LED lighting that we're doing in this house, it's going to be Lutron Lumeris lighting. So it gets a small controller, and then we utilized 14.2 speaker cable as our power source, which will run back to a power interface in the basement near our AV rack, which will power all those lights. And then here, I'm just going to take you through some of the finish work that we did on all of it. So everything is now secured in wall. We have our nail plates up. That was a big thing. We did a ton of nail plates in this house because of all of the millwork and everything that's going to be done. We don't want to run the risk of our cables getting hit with a finish nail. So here you have some DMF lights. You have more speakers. This whole upstairs area is a very cool space. They have a outdoor deck area off this main room here. Another example of making sure that we're running everything perfectly straight. This is an example of one of the DMF lights that the fixture slots right into with a pressure fitting. A lot of these are a mixture of a wall wash light as well. So here you can see at the beginning we had the blue boxes with the extensions, but we opted instead to just stub out all of our wires, including the line voltage, making sure that they're just going to cut it into the trim board, and we'll add an old work box after the fact. Here we're running speakers for the exterior. So this was a 14.4 run, which is why you see a loop there instead. I hope this is something that's interesting to you guys. If you want to learn more about how we pre-wire houses, make sure to drop a comment for us and we will answer any questions you have. Until next time.